Hush, my baby, don't you cry. God watches over you. Rest assured you'll always be my sweet little Macy Drew. Sweet little Macy Drew.
There is a knock at the door. Grant opens the door as Sammy places the baby in the crib.
Hello?
Good afternoon, Mr. Matthews. Remember me? Henry Bennett. We met about a year ago. The shepherd brought me by and introduced me to you. I came back to visit him again. I went by his cabin, but it doesn't appear he lives there anymore. Do you know where I can find him?
Yes, Henry. Won't you come in?
I'm afraid the shepherd, Dad Howitt, passed away not long ago.
Oh, I hate that. He was a very wise man. I only visited with him a short time last year, but I knew he was someone I wanted to get to know better.
Yes, we miss him too. He spoke of you not long ago before he died. You being an artist and all, he felt that we have a story you might find interesting.
Sammy points to a veiled picture on her wall.
Do you remember this painting? We knew you being an artist and all that you were curious about it, but you never asked us to explain why it was covered. Dad asked if you ever came back. He wanted you to learn about this painting.
Sammy unveils the painting. It is the portrait of the young artist immediately recognizes.
I studied that painting in school. The art book said its whereabouts are unknown. How did you get it?
Have a seat. Care for some coffee? This is the story the shepherd wanted you to learn.
Scene 2. On an isolated path in the woods of Mutton Hollow, we find Dad Howitt.
I hope to find what I'm looking for, to find what it is I need. In these hills, I hope to escape the darkness of my past. It's been so long since my imprisoned soul's been freed. Once a man of prominence, once a man of fame, a preacher in a city far from here. Now so filled with shame, I chose to even change my name. I've lost my family, the ones I hold so dear. But in these hills I have come, I want a place to hang my hat. In these hills I hope that I can do just that. In these hills I want to find a better me, and I hope that is what will be. In these hills, in these hills. My life has been turned upside down. My wife, son and daughter, God now wipes away their tears. My pride is gone, my faith is weak, I'm just a shadow of my past. Once courageous, but now constantly pursued by my fears. But in these hills I want to find a better me, and I hope that is what will be. In these hills, in these hills, no fame, no fortune, my pride of life has passed. Just give me peace and joy. This is all I ask. I'm willing to change and to seek a meeker life to live, to change and to seek those who need what I can give. But in these hills I have come, I want a place to hang my hat. In these hills I hope that I can do just that. In these hills I want to find a better me, and I hope that is what will be. In these hills, in these hills, in these hills, in these hills. Well, hello, young man. What's your name?
Me? I'm nobody.
Pardon me?
I'm just nobody.
But everybody has a name.
Everybody may, but nobody doesn't.
I'm confused, but I say, you remind me so much of my own son when he was your age, the spitting image. Do you have any close friends?
Why, yes, Mr. Pete. Pete's the best friend I have.
Do you know where Pete is?
Why, sure. He's right here.
So, you are Pete?
No. I'm not Pete. Pete lives in here. I don't know who I am. I'm just nobody.
Who is your father, my boy?
Ain't got no father. Nobody can't have a father, can he?
Does Pete have a father?
Sure, Mr. Pete's got a father. Don't you know? Everybody knows that. Look. He lives in them white hills up there. See him, mister? Sometimes he takes Pete with him up through the sky, and of course I go along. Pete says he'll take me away up there where the star things live someday, and we won't never come back again, and I won't be nobody no more. And Aunt Molly says she reckon Pete knows.
Aunt Molly?
Aunt Molly and Uncle Matt, they're good to me and Pete. They help take care of us.
Would you point me to where they live? It's almost dark, and I will need a place to stay for the evening.
Why, sure, mister, just to keep a walking this here trail. They'll take care of you. Pete likes you, mister. If Pete knows you're good, I like you too. I'm sure they'll take a liking to you.
Dad Howitt departs in search of the Matthews home. Talking to himself and the flowers and the trees around him, Pete continues.
People have trouble understanding me. They seem to think I'm crazy because I can see things they can't see. Maybe they're crazy because they can't. My mama died, giving me life. My grandparents tried their best to raise me. The guilt I feel cuts like a knife. When they look at me, it's her they see. I'm different, I know, but please understand. I have thoughts and feelings too. I know I'm not like others, still I dream, still I plan. I just don't think or act like others do. I feel confused, belittled, abused. I'd change things if only I could. It makes me sad, frustrated, so mad. Sometimes it's lonely being misunderstood. Sometimes it's lonely being misunderstood. Since the day I was born, I grew up in these hills. The land will always be my home. Nature has taught me how to survive. I'm learning to make it on my own. Most folks think I'm crazy, a little touched in the head, a simple-minded boy, they say. I can't help I'm different, I'll be different till I'm dead. It seems God just made me that way. I feel confused, belittled, abused. I'd change things if only I could. It makes me sad, frustrated, so mad. Sometimes it's lonely being misunderstood. Sometimes it's lonely being misunderstood. Maybe one day I'll change and become like all the rest. But most likely I'll stay this way and trust God knows what's best. I feel confused, belittled, abused. I'd change things if only I could. It makes me sad, frustrated, so mad. Sometimes it's lonely being misunderstood. Sometimes it's lonely being misunderstood. Sometimes it's lonely being misunderstood.
Scene 3. Dad Howitt approaches the cabin of Matt and Molly Matthews.
It has been a wonderful day. How are you fine folks?
Well, howdy. You look like a fish out of water. What can we do for you?
I met a young man down the trail that said you are his Uncle Matt and his Aunt Molly.
That would be Pete. Really, we're his grandparents, but that's what he likes to call us.
Yes, Pete. My name is Howitt, David Howitt. You have 2 remarkable children, sir.
You're mistaken, mister. Well, the boy's mine, all right, but the girl is the daughter of a neighbor. No kin at all.
Oh, indeed. You have only one child, then?
There was 6 boys, sir. This one, Grant, is the youngest. The others lie over there.
Pointing to a spot just beyond the yard, shaded with pines.
Oh, I had only 2, a boy and a girl. The girl and her mother have been gone these 20 years now. The boy grew up to be a man, and now he's left me. I wish that my dear ones had a resting place like that. This is good for me. It somehow seems to help me know just how big God is. One could find peace here. Surely, one could find it here, peace and strength.
You live in the city, then? When you're at home?
I did when I had a home. I cannot say that I live anywhere now.
You have no home? So, are you looking for a place to stay?
Yes, sir, I am.
Mr. Howitt, you got education. It's easy to see that. I've always wanted to ask somebody like you, do you believe in haunts? Do you reckon folks ever come back once they're dead and gone?
No, I do not believe in such things, Mr. Matthew. But if it should be true, I do not see why we should fear the dead.
I don't know. I always said I didn't believe, but some things is mighty strange. If you're looking for a place to stay and ain't afeard of haunts, well, we need someone to stay at our ranch house in Mutton Hollow. We've got to find somebody to stay with them sheep.
You find it hard to keep help for your sheep?
Yes, sir, we do. We had a good enough man till about a month ago. Since then, we've been getting along the best we could. There ain't much entice a man to stay and help out.
Is the work so difficult?
Difficult? No. There ain't nothing to do but tending to the sheep. The man has to stay at the ranch of nights, though. It is more as though some genie of the forest-clad hills wanders through the mists.
Oh, Pete! Pete?
It's no use, child. He'll come back whenever he's ready. We take care of Pete best we know how. We've done our best by the boy, but I don't guess he'll ever be any better. Folks are all as good to him as they can be, 'cause everybody knows how it is. You see, people here don't think nothing of a woods colt nohow, but we was raised different.
As my wife says, we've most forgot civilized ways. We ain't always lived up here on this here hill. We both come here from Illinois.
Mr. Matthews, you need help. I need a place to stay. Perhaps I could tend your sheep in exchange for the use of your cabin down at Mutton Hollow.
Well, I'm sure willing for you to give it a try.
Scene 4. A few days later, Mandy Ford, Ollie, along with Sammy Lane and her other friends are in a public gathering place in the hill.
Ollie, it was awful nice of your uncle to offer you an education and give you his company in the city like he did.
I'm a most fortunate one, I must admit, Mandy. I simply cannot stand the thought of what I'd be doing with myself right now if I were still living here in these hills.
These hills ain't so bad, Ollie. It's where your parents met my mama and Diddy. They decided it would be a good idea for us to get married someday.
Yeah, I suppose you're correct about that, Sammy. One day I'll become the owner of my uncle's business. I'll need a wife to make me more social in the big city. While I'm busy learning my trade, I hope you're able to learn the ways of high society, all proper as a woman for our social status. I'm afeard these hills don't do a very good job of preparing you for life in the city.
I'm sorry, Ollie. Guess I have a lot to learn about city living. There's a new feller who's tending sheep for Mr. Matthews at Mutton Holler. He's from the city. When he talks, he sounds different from us'ns. Maybe he can help me become a city-like lady.
Maybe worth checking into. I learned a lot since moving to the city. It'd be impossible for me to return to these here hills. I become a man of the town, a regular dandy of a feller if I do say so myself. I'm a dandy, I'm a man of the town, I'm a dandy, no one can keep me down. I'm a sure rootin' tootin', as sure as I'm a scootin', as true a gentleman you'll see. I'm a dandy, I'm a man of distinction, I'm a dandy. I speak with proper diction, the picture in the dictionary, one that you carry, that dandy there is me. City life is a busy life, the street lights burn till 10. So much to see, so much to do, I can't wait to get back again. The hustle and the bustle of life in the city, streetcars come and go. Boardwalks beside the smoothed streets, the city's my home, I know. I'm a dandy, I like to dream real big. I'm a dandy, I'm gonna be a big wig. I will stop at nothing, gonna grab the brass ring. Just you wait and see. I'm a dandy, I don't care what they say. I'm a dandy, don't stand in my way. I'm a man on a mission, determined disposition. They better watch out for me. I'm so glad to get away from this backwoods place. The people in their nosy way. Everybody's up in each other's business. Your secrets cross the mountain by the end of the day. The people are so backwards they just can't realize a new century's almost here. You won't find progress from a mule's rear end. They hide here on the mountain 'cause there's nothing to fear. I'm a dandy, I'm dandy. What more can I say? Sammy Lane, one day soon, I want you to come to the city with me. When you're a lady, all proper and such. When you're a lady, after you aren't so much a tomboy of the hills, that gives me the chills, then you can worship only me. A sophisticated lady, maybe kinda jady, who worships only me. Well, I reckon I'll be moseying on. Gotta get back to the city, so much to do. Parting is such sweet sorrow.
It'll sure be fine for you to live in that city and get your schooling and all that. Us folks here in the woods don't know nothing. We ain't got no chance to learn. You'll be forgetting this way of life mighty quick like, I reckon, once you get to living with your rich kin.
'Deed I won't. I aim to always come back to Mutton Holler once a year and be just like other folks.
Once a year? I will go pay a visit to Mr. Howard. Maybe he can teach me to be all prim and proper. A lady that will fit in with other city women.
That sounds great. I hope to hear from you soon.
Well, Sammy, Ollie certainly has some big plans for you two. Are you sure you're up for the challenge?
When you put it as a challenge, I'm definitely ready. Don't ever tell me there's something I can't do, unless you want to fight on your hands.
So you plan to go through with this marriage that was arranged by yours and Ollie's parents? What about Grant?
Grant. Oh, Cora. Grant and I have been best friends ever since we were knee-high to a grasshopper. We are just good friends. We could never be a married couple.
I thought I was your best friend.
You are my best girlfriend. Grant is my best friend who,
That's what I thought.
Oh, y'all are too much. Ollie and I are going to get married, and that's that.
Really?
Really. We are gonna get married. I guess I will abide. Daddy and he and Ollie's family, our future they decide. You are gonna get married. That's your parents' plan. I want to be a proper lady, 'cause he's gonna be my man. We'll have babies, at least 3 babies, no fewer. We'll live in the city, well-to-do, I can assure. You are gonna get married. I have so much to learn. I'll be giving up these hills, but that's okay. I'm getting so much more in return. I'll be giving up these hills, but that's okay. I'm getting so much more in return. But you'll be married to Ollie. We'll work it out, I know that we can. But Ollie, oh Ollie.
Are you sure that he's even a man?
We are gonna get married. I have so much to learn. I'll be giving up these hills, but that's okay. I'm getting so much more in return. Ollie, you'll be giving up these hills, but that's okay. You're getting so much more in return.
Scene 5. Later, Dad Howitt is sitting at the table in his cabin when Sammy Lane knocks at his door.
Sammy, what a surprise! To what do I owe this opportunity for such charming company this morning?
Are you joking?
Well, of course not. I'm as sincere as I can be. May I smoke?
Huh? Oh, law, yes. What you ask me for? I reckon that's because you was raised in the city. Is that the way folks do there?
Folks smoke here sometimes, do they not?
I don't mean that. Of course they smoke, and chew too, and the women dip snuff, some of them. Aunt Molly Matthews don't, though, and I ain't never going to, 'cause she don't. But nobody don't ask nobody else if they can. They just go ahead. And that ain't the only way you're different from us, though. You're different in a whole heap of ways. T'ain't that you wear different clothes, for you don't. At least not anymore. Nor t'ain't that you act like you're any better than us'ns. I don't know what it is, but it's something. Take your staying here in Mutton Hollow now. Honest, Mr. Howitt. Ain't you afeard to stay here all alone at nights?
Afraid? Afraid of what?
Haunts. Down there. She's sure been seen there. What if he comes too? Don't you believe in haunts?
I don't know, Sammy. I scarcely know what I believe. After all, the unseen world is not too far away. Strange forces of which we know nothing are about us everywhere. I dare not say that I do not believe.
But you ain't scared?
Why should I fear?
Ain't another man or woman in the whole country would dast spend the night there. You're sure different, Mr. Howitt. Plumb different. I reckon it must be the city that does it. And that's what I've come to see you about this evening. You see, Ollie's been telling me a lot about folks and things over there. And Ollie, he's changed a heap himself since he went there to live. You know all about Ollie and me going to get married, I reckon?
Yes, so I have learned.
I allowed you'd know. But you don't know how mighty proud and particular Ollie always is. I figure that being in the city with all them folks ain't going to make him any less that way than he was. And if he stays there and keeps on a-changin', and I stay here and don't change none, why, it might be that Ollie, he ain't let Grant know how. Such as that wouldn't make no difference with him, but Ollie, well, you see.
Yes, I see. I'm quite sure that I see.
You know all about these things, and there ain't nobody else here that does. Will you learn me to be a sure enough lady so as Ollie won't, so he won't? I feel like I could do it, if I had a chance. Of course, if I could never learn, there ain't no use to try.
My dear child, do you know what it is that you ask?
I knowed it would be right smart trouble for you, but I could let you have my pony Brownie and pay. He's all I've got, but I'd be mighty proud to swap him to you.
Sweet child, you misunderstand me. I did not mean that. I would be pleased to teach you. I was thinking how little you realize what the real life of the city is like, and how much you have the fine ladies, as you call them, would give fortunes for, and how little they have that could add one ray of brightness to your life.
Me? Got anything that anybody would want? Wow, Mr. Howitt, I ain't got nothing but brownie in my saddle, and that's it. I sure ain't got nothing to lose.
And if you should lose, you will never blame me.
Never.
All right, it is a bargain. I will help you.
I knew you would. I was plumb sure you would, Mr. Howitt. I've got to be a sure enough lady.
And by the way, please call me Dad. That seems to be the name I've acquired since my arrival.
Dad, I just knowed it. You're gonna learn me to be a sure enough lady.
Yes, Sammy. I understand a sure enough lady, and you will do it, I'm sure. But it will take a great deal of hard work on your part.
I reckon it will. Start now. Tell me what I must do first.
First, you must know what a sure enough lady is.
Several kinds of women call themselves ladies, but they really aren't ladies at all.
Dresses and jewels don't a lady make, though some may think her a doll.
No, putting on airs, not pretending to be
someone who seems so judgmental.
Profound thoughts on things that really matter,
on things we should value, important, fundamental. A sure enough lady. A sure enough lady.
If you can make a silk purse out of an old sow's ear, just how hard can this be? Please do your best, I'll take care of the rest, to make a sure enough lady out of me.
Things that really matter upon a lady's mind
should be of value, not silver or gold.
A spirit, a soul, a heart that's truly kind,
a faithful, strong, and bold.
To a sure enough lady,
a lady indeed.
A lady's heart is first and foremost.
To a sure enough lady,
her character is as plain as the sign on a doorpost. A sure enough lady. A sure enough lady.
If you can make a silk purse out of an old sow's ear, just how hard can this be? Please do your best, I'll take care of the rest, to make a sure enough lady out of me. Aunt Molly and you are the very ones I see as models to imitate and follow. Learning to be true to myself, I have to be as true as the fort tell to the barn swallow. A sure enough lady. A sure enough lady.
If you can make a silk purse out of an old sow's ear, just how hard can this be?
Please do your best, I'll take care of the rest, to make a sure enough lady out of me. If you can make a silk purse out of an old sow's ear, just how hard can this be? Please do your best, I'll take care of the rest, to make a sure enough lady out of me. A sure enough lady out of me. A sure enough lady out of me.
A sure enough lady out of me.
Scene 6. A few days later, Dad Howitt, Matt Matthews, and Aunt Molly have just finished a meal together at the Matthews home and have moved to the porch to continue in conversation.
The dinner was wonderful. Simply delicious, Miss Molly. I sincerely appreciate the thoughtful invitation to join you this evening, though I feel I must apologize. It's been a while since I've had a meal such as this. I'm afraid I ate like a preacher tonight.
Thank you, Brother Howitt. And please just call me Aunt Molly. That's what everybody on the hill calls me.
And if you wish, please call me Dad. It's a name I've acquired, and I rather like it.
Well, sir, I reckon you think some things you've seen and heard since you come are mighty strange. If it weren't for Peter taking up with you the way he has, I wouldn't be telling you what I'm going to now. There's some trails that ain't pleasant to go back over. I didn't know to ever go over this one again. Did you and Pete talk much about this?
I'm not sure, Mr. Matthews. Yes, Pete and I have spoken, but I don't know if we discussed what's on your mind.
Please, call me Matt. Our folks all live back in Illinois. I always had a notion to settle in a new country, so we came here. We've had our ups and downs, but we got along. There was 5 other boys, as I told you. The oldest 2 would have been men now. The girl, she come third. She was 20 when we buried her over there. That was 15 years ago, come middle of next month.
Being the only girl, I reckon we made more of her than we did of the boys. She growed up into a mighty fine young woman, too, strong and full of fire and go, like Sammy Lane. Seems to Matt and me, when Sammy's round that, it's our own girl come back, and we've always hoped that she and Grant would take the ranch down yonder. But I reckon that's all over. Since about a year ago, Ollie Stewart has come into such a fine thing in the city. Anyway, it ain't got nothing to do with this.
Maggie didn't seem to care nothing at all for none of the neighbor boys like most girls do. But one day, when we was out on the range riding for stock, we met a stranger over there at the deer lick, coming along the old trail.
He was as fine a looking man as you would ever see. Big and grand like with lightish hair, kind of wavy, and a big mustache like his hair, and fine white teeth showing when he smiled.
He was sure good looking.
And with his fine store clothes and a smooth, easy way of talking and acting he had, tain't no wonder she took up with him. We all did.
I used to think God never made a finer body for a man. I know now that hell don't hold a meaner heart than the one in that same fine body. And that's something that bothers me a heap, Mr. Howitt.
They sure made a pretty couple. He was one of these here artist fellows and had come into the hills to paint, he said.
From there nothing would
sure did paint a lot of pictures, and they seemed mighty nice to us, though, of course, we didn't know nothing about such things.
There was one big one he made of Maggie. It was as natural as life. He was always drawing pictures of her. Lots of little pictures that didn't amount to much, but this big one, he worked at off and on all summer.
Oh, it sure was fun, with her standing by the ranch spring holding out a cup of water and smiling like she was offering you a drink.
He took an old cabin at the foot of the hill, near where the sheep corral is now, and he fixed it up to work in. Well, he visited with us all that summer, and then one day he went out as usual, but he didn't come back.
We hunted the hills for signs, thinking maybe he met up with some trouble. His leaving just drained the life out of our little girl. Maggie appeared to fade away like wilted flower. About the only time she would show any life at all was when someone would go for the mail, when she'd always be at the gate a-waiting for us. Then one day, a letter come. Her daddy brought it to her.
She gave a little cry when I handed it to her and ran into the house, most like her old self. I went on out to the barn to put up my horse, thinking maybe it was going to be all right after all. But pretty soon I heard a scream and then a laugh.
That laugh's a ringing in my ears yet. She was raving mad. I read the letter afterwards. It told her over and over how he loved her and how no woman could ever be to him what she was.
And then it went on to say how he could never see her again, and told about what a grand old family his was, how his father was so proud and expected such great things from him that he didn't dare tell, them being the last of this here old family and her being a backwoods girl without any schooling or nothing.
Oh my, no.
Of course, it was all wrote out nice and smooth like he talked, but that's the sense of it. He finished it by saying that he would be on his way to the city when the letter reached her, and that it wouldn't be no use to try to find him.
Maggie quieted down after a spell, but her mind never come back. Acted all the time like she was expecting him to come.
Pete is her boy, Mr. Howitt, and as you've seen, he ain't just right. She died when Pete was born, and last thing she said was, "He'll come, Daddy. He'll sure come."
Pete says the wind singing in that big pine over her grave is her a-calling for him yet.
And that ain't all, sir. Folks say she's come back. There's them that swears they've seen her around the old cabin where they used to meet when he painted her picture, and that ranch where you stay. Well, seems she haunts it, and that's why we can't get no one to stay with the sheep. Many's the time I've prayed all night that God would let me meet him again just once, or that proud father of his.
Scene 7. A panicked Dad Howitt has abruptly left the Matthews house and is following the path back to his home.
Have I done? What have I done? My son, my boy, my... To do such a thing as that. Should be glad that you are dead, and that picture, your masterpiece, the portrait that brought you such great fame, calling. Come back from the grave! Would you come? I grew up learning to cross my T's and dot my I's. I walked the straight and narrow, but now I've learned of God's true love, and that shakes me to my marrow. Obey I must His will to love my fellow man in spite of his sin. It's the heart of submission that God desires, not simply those who play to win. I failed so far to be the man I tried to be. A checklist filled with do's and don'ts, good intentions filled with wills and won'ts. Turn the page, I discover a new chapter in my life, a new story that is ready to unfold. Turn the page, I discover a new chapter in my life, a better man, a better life, a better soul. As patriarch I saw it, my duty to hold my family to the highest standards and goals. I guarded the reputation of my family's name, determined to keep it unstained. While our name was pristine, our family was not. It seemed that we suffered, tied up in a knot. I had strangled the life from those I loved most. Slowly and painfully they gave up the ghost. First I failed myself, now I failed my family. The box I closed them inside became a coffin where my family died. Turn the page, I discover a new chapter in my life, a new story that is ready to unfold. Turn the page, I discover a new chapter in my life, a better man, a better life, a better soul. Change comes slowly, it can be bitter, even hard. But with change there is hope to begin anew, no matter how scarred. Turn the page, I discover a new chapter in my life, a new story that is ready to unfold. Turn the page, I discover a new chapter in my life, a better man, a better life, a better soul. Turn the page, I discover a new chapter in my life, a new story that is ready to unfold. Turn the page, I discover a new chapter in my life, a better man, a better life, a better soul. A better man, a better life, a better soul.
Scene 8. Meanwhile, in Jim Lane's cabin, Jim is putting away his fiddle and begins a conversation with his daughter, Sammy, who is busy reading a book Dad Howitt gave her.
What are you working on, girl?
I'm reading one of the books Dad Howitt gave me. It's a book about great philosophers and some of their major contributions.
I gotta say, you've been working hard on this for several months now. But I thought you asked him to teach you to be a city lady.
Well, that's what I thought I wanted, but Dad has shown me there's so much more to being a real lady than fancy clothes and knowing fashion. He's teaching me manners, all right, but he's also teaching me how to think and act like a real woman.
Well, I'm not sure I know exactly what you mean, but I do see a difference in you. You've changed so much over the last few months, and I mean that in the best way I can say. You're becoming a woman, and your mama would be so proud of you. You're like the old folks, girl, in the way you think, but you're like your mother in the way you look.
You're a good man, Daddy Jim. The best daddy a girl ever had, and if I ain't all bad, it's on account of you. But, Daddy, I wish you would do something for me. I don't like Wash Gibbs to be coming here. I wish you'd quit riding with him. I'm afeard of him. He looks at me so. He's a sure bad one, I know he is. And I wish you would get out of the bald knobbers. People say they used to be a good thing, but now they're nothing but trouble. I hear people talk. Many think the bald knobbers are nothing but a gang of outlaws.
I'd knowed Wash Gibbs a long time, honey. Me and Wash's daddy was, well, we was together when his daddy died, and you used to sit on Wash's knee when you was a little tad. And not that he's so much mighty older than you, but he was a man size at 15. You don't understand, girl, but I've got to go with him sometimes. But don't you fret, Wash Gibbs ain't gonna hurt me, and he won't come here anymore, and I can help either. But as for the bald knobbers, well, I don't know what to say. We were the protectors for these hills when there was no one else here to depend on, but times have changed, and I guess maybe we've changed some too. It's time that I make things right.
Daddy, I love you. I don't know how you do it. I don't see how you always seem to know the right words for the right time. Your gentle way, you guide and help me grow. You've been here for me all along because of you. You've been here to guide me through tough times. I am me because of you. You've been here for me all along because of you. I've grown up strong. You've been here to guide me through tough times. I am me because of you. You make life seem so easy, though I know at times it must have been tough to be here for me when I needed you. Still, your love was more than enough.
Scene 9. A few days later, Jim meets with Wash Gibbs and the Bald Knobbers at their hangout.
Howdy, Jim. We was wondering if you was gonna show up.
Yeah, and why's that?
I don't know. You just seem a little different lately. You seem like you think you're too good to be with us anymore. Yep, Sammy sure seems to be less of a little gal every day, becoming a real woman. And you seem like you're not quite the same fella. Got a lot on your mind.
Well, I reckon I do. First, you stay away from Sammy. She's spoken for. Don't you go messing around where you're not wanted. I've been doing some serious thinking, and, well, it's time I step aside. Time to make a clean break from the gang. You say I've changed, but we're not the same bunch of men we used to be. Back when your dad was alive, we were the protectors of these hills. There was no lawman in these parts. We served those who were too weak to take care of themselves. Drew and Benny knows how it was back then. But Wash here was only a boy. You remember how he was taken in on account of his daddy being killed by the government? Didn't think any one of us fellas that started ever would think the Bald Knobbers would get to be what they did. We began it as kind of a protection. Times being wild then. Back then, we was the law. We were the law. The protectors and neighbors and our friends. We were the law. You know, we served justice and we would fight and defend. The innocent, the peaceable relied upon our watch. We were the law. There was a day when the law never ventured in our hills. Might made right, only strong survive. A testament of wills. Every day a battle just to stay alive. There was a need, we found our calling to help the weak, the deprived. We were the law. We were the law. Then one day a lawman rode upon our hill, called us vigilantes. If we continued, we'd be killed. We were protectors. We're now a gang without a cause. Once thought as noble, considered now outlaws. We were the law. But now nothing more than a worthless gang. We were the law. But the sheriff would like nothing more than to watch us hang. Tables turn, good is bad, life's a funny thing. We were the law. We were the law. We were the law.
So you think you can just walk right in here and say you're done and that's the end of it?
Wash Gibbs prepares to draw his gun. Jim slips his hand into his shirt where his own gun is hidden.
You better think hard before you go for that gun, Wash, if you know what's good for you. And you better stay away from my place and stay away from Sammy as well. I told you back in the day I'd go in with you and stand by the old oath. I've tended every meeting and done everything I agreed, and there ain't a man here that say I can't.
That's so. You're right, Jim.
I wasn't there when some of you went with Wash and hung old man Lewis. I thought then, and I think yet, that was spite work and not protection. Uncalled for. Now I hear talk of going after the shepherd. Not a person on this hill has a thing against him. Wash just don't like him. That ain't no reason to go after a man. It's time I got out.
Well, that's a fine howdy do. This ain't over yet. Anyone else feel brave enough to want to leave? Speak up! Poor Jim is getting old. He's forgot how to have fun. Like he said, the law has taken the fun out of trying to help folk. Nowadays, there just ain't much fun to be had unless you want to be bad. While the West was wild, things were settled with a Colt 45. Back then in these here hills, only the strong would survive. Sherwood Forest had its Robin Hood in charge of wealth distribution. The Ozarks had us bald knobbers to promote an orderly solution. But when time comes change, we must rearrange our priorities and objectives. Justice was our aim, now it ain't quite the same. We don't seem as nearly selective. There ain't much fun to be had unless you want to be bad. No, there ain't much fun to be had unless you want to be bad. There may be good found in every man, but the good end up in the frying pan. There ain't much fun to be had unless you want to be bad. No, there ain't much fun to be had unless you want to be bad. What once was considered the West is now almost back east. Now the law's found its way into these here hills. It seems the bald knobber's need has decreased. We realigned and diversified. Our mission statement is updated. Forget peacemakers, we're now lawbreakers. Justice is a bit overrated. We were politicians, we have great ambitions. Our community interest is second to none, but we're more soft-spoken. Our promises never broken. By drawing a gun, there ain't much fun to be had unless you want to be bad. No, there ain't much fun to be had unless you want to be bad. There may be good found in every man, but the good end up in a frying pan. There ain't much fun to be had unless you want to be bad. No, there ain't much fun to be had unless you want to be bad. Won't find better robbers than this group of bald knockers. We steal from the rich, we take from the poor. We don't discriminate, that's for sure. There ain't much fun to be had unless you want to be bad. No, there ain't much fun to be had unless you want to be bad. There may be good found in every man, but the good end up in the frying pan. There ain't much fun to be had unless you want to be bad. There ain't much fun to be had unless you want to be bad.
Scene 10. The following day, Jim Lane knocks at the door of the Matthews cabin and is greeted by Aunt Molly.
Well, hi, Jim. Ain't this a nice surprise?
Aunt Molly, how are you?
Fairly well, I guess. Can I offer you some coffee?
Thank you kindly, but no. I shouldn't be but a minute, but I have an important question to ask you.
Well, what can I do for you, Jim?
I need to do what's right by Sammy. I've made a decision to leave the Bald Knobbers, but I hope there won't be no pushback. But with Wash Gibbs trying to take control of the gang, you never know. Sammy thinks the world of you and me, and should something ever happen to me,
Stop right there, Jim. I know some of those men, the ones you knew when you started with Wash's daddy. I think those men respect you.
Maybe so, but Wash has a way about bringing the worst out of some of them. And the younger guys, they don't remember how we tried to help the people who couldn't protect themselves. It's really gotten out of hand. We used to try to maintain order, but now we're on the wrong side of the law. It's just no good any way you look at it.
Jim, you take care of yourself. I'll talk to Matt. Why don't you talk to the shepherd? He has a way of seeing things differently than we do sometimes. But as for Sammy, you know I love her like she was my own flesh and blood. This old world is getting worser and worser every day. Tain't like it used to be, Jim. Some of them's gonna have to change. Folks don't mind eating others in the ground.
This world keeps a changing, getting darker every day.
Not much left to do, but get on my knees and pray.
Nothing short of love will fix this world. 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 Nothing short of love will fix this world.
It's getting harder now to believe.
Well, so much harder now to even breathe.
Everywhere today, hatred fills the air.
Becoming more than anyone can bear.
Pressure's growing stronger.
Something's gotta give.
I can't imagine how much longer like this we can live.
Nothing short of love will fix this world. 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 To fix this world, it takes love.
Scene 11. Several months have passed. Dad Howitt is busy composing a letter when Sammy Lane cracks open the door to his cabin.
Dad, are you home?
Sammy, what a pleasure surprise.
You writing a letter to someone back home?
Sammy, I've been here for almost a year now. I consider this my home, but yes, I have known Dr. Coughlin for many years. I'm so distraught over the terrible circumstances this drought has imposed upon everyone this summer.
I know there are families suffering. Many have no idea how they will survive if relief doesn't come soon.
Well, Dr. Coughlin is a person of means. I'm hoping he could spread some generosity to those who need some help. This drought's terrible. Families are suffering. Many have no idea how they'll survive.
Yes, Daddy Jim is afraid we may have to move. I heard Aunt Molly say that Uncle Matt was not able to make payments on a loan from the bank. They don't know what they're going to do yet.
Well, hopefully Dr. Coughlin will bear good news for our situation. But you don't come here to tell me about such matters. What's on your mind, my dear? What do you want to talk about today?
Oh, Dad, I don't even know where to begin. Etiquette, grammar, history, philosophy. There's just so much beyond these I never realized. I want to know it all.
Well, my lady, you must learn to digest this knowledge much like you might a well-balanced meal. Take small bites, chew thoroughly before you swallow, eat everything you take out on your plate. Why don't you show me how to set a formal place setting for a meal while you tell me about the teachings of Plato and Aristotle?
Sammy obediently goes to collect Dad's meager utensils and tablecloth to begin her assigned task.
Well, while Plato was older than Aristotle, they were somewhat contemporaries as their time periods did overlap. Plato was a student of Socrates. He saw education reserved for only a few. The masses were unable to appreciate the higher thoughts on humanity. Aristotle was less elitist. He felt everyone has the ability to learn. Both believed in universal truth. There is...
Speaking of universal or ultimate truth, I have a question for you. Are you in love with Ollie, the idea of leaving the hills and living in the city, or with the security a marriage to Ollie presents? We need smart ladies of culture here in our community, too. You and Grant have grown up together. I I have seen how the two of you behave towards one another. Do you think there is a possibility of the two of you finding happiness together?
You're asking me questions I can't answer, Dad. Grant does not think of me in that way.
Maybe not, or maybe he knows he shouldn't act upon his feelings in order to spare you. You, after all, have made it clear that you are honoring your parents' agreement. Remember discussing Shakespeare's Twelfth Night? Do you recall us mentioning unrequited love?
Orsino's love for Olivia? His feelings for her were basically unwelcome.
What about the courtly love between King Arthur and Guinevere and the relationship of Sir Lancelot?
I can more nearly see Grant as Sir Lancelot than I can Ollie and me as King Arthur and Guinevere.
Well, my point is that perhaps this is how Grant feels. He loves you so much, he is willing to let you decide your own future. He loves you so much, he's willing to let you go.
Dad, you're supposed to be teaching me, not confusing me further.
A good teacher teaches the student to think and reason for herself. The teacher does not give the student the answer. It is up to the student to seek and find it.
Oh, Dad, you sure know how to stir the fire.
Scene 12. A few days later, Sammy Lane, Mandy Ford, Cora, Ann, and Catherine are standing outside the small one-room post office run by Uncle Ike.
Sammy, you got another letter from that dandy Ollie. Would you like me to tell you what he said, or do you want to read it for yourself?
Uncle Ike, you'll never do.
It must be nice. One beau sending you love letters from the big city, while another living right down the road pining his art for you.
Let her be, Cora. We all wish we had it so good. Bet he sorely misses you, don't he, Sammy?
I guess. I can't really tell. He seems so busy and preoccupied with all of his work. His letters have changed over the months. He's changed.
I know someone who hasn't changed, at least not how he feels for you. Grant.
Oh, stop it, Anne. Grant and I have been friends forever. He doesn't have those kinds of feelings for me.
Don't kid yourself, Missy. He's a man, isn't he?
Do you really think? No. I'm so confused. My heart tells me one thing while my head says another. The country has its peaceful charm, but the city comes alive at night. Feeding chickens and slopping hogs don't seem to hold a light. Digging rocks and chopping weeds to keep the garden purty hardly compares to the city's gleam where everything here's so dirty. My hand's been promised to all these since I was a little girl. Ambitious and smart, a sophisticated style.
She just reminds me of a squirrel.
Sidewalks for strollers. Is this the life for me? One too many fellers. One too many fellers. One too many fellers for a good girl like me. One too many fellers. One too many fellers. One too many fellers for a good girl like me. One too many fellers. One too many fellers. One too many fellers for a good girl like me. One too many fellers. One too many fellers. One too many fellers for a good girl like me. In the city I can buy anything I want but the scenery and fresh air. It was here I was born and given life and taught the power of prayer. The city whispers for me to come, but in my heart this land's my home. The moon hanging in the starry sky, what better place do I know? For as long as I can remember, Grant's been here for me.
But his strong and quiet demeanor sometimes reminds me of a tree.
I'd like to sit with him and admire the majestic mountain views and our long walks in the meadows. Is Grant who I should choose? One too many fellers, one too many fellers, one too many fellers for a good girl like me. Too many fellers, one too many fellers, one too many fellers for a good girl like me. One too many fellers, one too many fellers, one too many fellers for a good girl like me. One too many fellers, one too many fellers, one too many fellers for a good girl like me. This lady just needs one good man, but I don't quite know who. Which one can make you happy? Which one will you stay true? Two gentlemen to choose from, but which one will it be? One too many fellers for a good girl like
good girl like me. One too many fellers. One too many fellers. One too many fellers for a good girl like me. One too many fellers. One too many fellers. One too many fellers for a good girl like you. One too many fellers. One too many fellers. One too many fellers for a good girl like you. One too many fellers. One too many fellers. One too many fellers for a good girl like me. One too many fellers. One too many fellers. One too many fellers for a good girl like me. One too many fellers, one too many fellers, one too many fellers for a good girl like me. One too many fellers, one too many fellers, one too many fellers for a good girl like me. One too many fellers, one too many fellers, one too many fellers for a good girl like me. One too many fellers, one too many fellers, one too many fellers for a good girl like me. One too many fellers, one too many fellers, one too many fellers for a good girl like me, a good girl like me. One too many fellers, one too many fellers, one too many fellers for a good girl like me.
Turn the page, I discover a new chapter in my life, a new story that is ready to unfold. Turn the page, I discover a new chapter in my life, a better man, a better life, a better soul, a better man, a better life, a better soul.
End of Act 1. We will now take a 10-minute intermission. Act 2. It's the fall of the year. The community has gathered for a harvest dance in Mr. Ford's barn. Mr. Ford addresses the crowd.
It is wonderful to see everyone here this fine evening. It's been a tough summer with the drought and all. Most of us struggle to get less than half the crops we usually raise. But tonight, let's celebrate the gifts we did receive and the friends and the families we have in these here hills. Boys, start that music back up.
In the staged version, a choreographed dance routine is performed. Ollie is dancing with Sammy Lane. On cue, Grant Matthews politely gestures to cut in. The mood of the music changes, as does Sammy Lane's demeanor. It becomes obvious to Ollie and the audience that Sammy is much more comfortable with Grant. Ollie rudely cuts in to conclude the dance. Grant quietly exits the dance floor. Following the dance, Ollie, Maddie Ford, Sammy Lane, and Grant speak.
I'd forgotten what these barn parties were like. Sammy, I can't wait to take you to the city so you can see what a real party is like. They certainly know how to party to the nines.
Party to the nines? What does that mean?
That's city talk, Mandy. That's okay. I wouldn't expect y'all to understand that. It means,
It means to party to the highest degree, Mandy. It sounds like our parties don't measure up to Ollie's new lifestyle. Too bad Ollie isn't too sure of what he means when he says such things.
This is fun, but you have to admit, Sammy, this really needs to be stepped up a notch.
I think the best things about a party are your friends and the people who make it. Everything is vanity without those you enjoy and admire around you to share the experience.
Okay, well, Sammy, what do you say we go outside for some fresh air?
That sounds like a good idea. Mandy, wouldn't you and the girls like to come? How about you, Grant? I bet you could use a chance to get away from all this excitement for a few minutes.
Well,
Sure you could, Grant. Come on, ladies, let's get us some air.
Oh. All right, come on.
Scene 2. In the woods, a short distance from the harvest dance.
It's amazing just a short distance from the barn how quiet it is. In the city, it's noisy everywhere.
That doesn't sound very appealing to me. I enjoy the ability to hear myself think.
yeah, it doesn't make sense to trade all this away. I guess everyone's different. Takes all kinds, I suppose.
Well, I enjoy the excitement of the city. The night sky lit up by street lights, the sounds of people all around. Nowadays, I have trouble getting accustomed to how quiet it is, actually is here in the hills. Grant, I bet you could come to get used to it. Why don't you consider coming to the city with me? I'll be happy to set you up in my factory.
Me? Working for you?
A growl from a large cat goes largely unnoticed by everyone but Grant.
Listen, did you hear something?
Yeah, I heard Ollie spouting off about how boring we are to him now.
No, I mean like some varmint we may have happened upon.
What's the matter, Grant? You getting skittish? I used to think there wasn't anything a big guy like you would be afraid of on this hill.
I have a respect for everything. I'm not usually afraid if I can see what's around me. But if hear or sense something but not see where it's at, I get mighty edgy.
The growl is now loud enough that everyone is able to hear it.
I heard it too. It sounds like a cougar.
Cougar?
What should we do?
Stand together. Nobody run or separate from the group. Everybody, get behind me.
Grant, be careful.
Stay back. If he attacks me, y'all run and get help.
Growl is closer and more aggravated. The cougar's eyes are glowing in the shadows. Suddenly, out of the darkness rings a rifle shot. A thud is heard as the cougar falls lifeless to the ground. Unnoticed by the frightened group, a shadowy figure cloaked in a gray, sheet-like covering carries a rifle and makes his escape.
Where'd that shot come from?
I don't know, maybe Mr. Thompson? We're not too far from his cabin.
But I saw Mr. Thompson at the dance.
Well, it's none too soon wherever it came from.
Ollie, it's a good thing we all came out here together. Now tell him what could have happened if you and Sammy came out here alone.
I could have taken care of myself. Grant didn't have to do a thing. He was saved by that coon hunter or whomever passing in the night.
Speaking of passing, Ollie, what's that on your trousers?
I do believe the dandy has soiled himself.
I hate these hills!
Oh, Grant, that was a very brave thing you did. You saved our lives.
I didn't do anything, Sammy. I was lucky someone is such a good shot. I wonder who it was. It's unusual he didn't come over here after he dropped the cougar to see how we were. Kind of strange.
Yep, Grant, you saved part near every girl on this hill by what you did. You're a sure-fired hero.
Thanks, Mandy. But the real hero is whoever fired that shot. You girls get back to the party. Your folks are going to be looking for you.
Aren't you coming back with us, Grant?
No, I think I've had enough excitement for one night. I believe I'll walk on back home. I had a good time. I'll see y'all later.
Do you remember I said I was conflicted over my life's decision?
You mean over who you hope to marry?
Yes. But I'm not conflicted anymore. We are gonna get married. No, you don't know yet. Handsome and shy. Oh, what a guy. What better catch can I get? We are gonna get married. I'll sit you down and tell you someday. Sun-kissed skin, your eyes inviting me in. What more is left to say? We will have babies, lots and lots of babies.
Oh my!
You will build me a cabin. You're such a great family guy. We are gonna get married. Just you wait and see. You good-looking, hard-working hunk of a man. Yup, you're the one for me. You good-looking, hard-working hunk of a man. Yup, you're the one for me.
Oh my!
He will build me a cabin.
He's such a great family guy.
We are gonna get married. Just you wait and see. You good-looking, hard-working hunk of a man. Yep, you're the one for me. You good-looking, hard-working hunk of a man. Grant, you were meant for me.
Scene 3. A short time has passed. Early one morning, just before sunrise, Dad, Howitt, and Pete are awakened by a knock at their cabin door.
I wonder who that could be at this hour. Well, someone's left a package, Pete. Oh. It's heavy as lead. And it's addressed to me. Oh my goodness, Pete, look. Just look at all this gold. Who on earth could have brought this?
God.
Well, if it is, it has a note from God inside. This stuff is for you to give to the Matthews and Jim Lane, but don't tell anyone where you got it, and don't try to find out where it came from either, or you'll wish you hadn't. You needn't be afraid. It's good, honest money, all right.
Pete's glad this morning. Pete saw the sky. Did Dad see the sky?
Did Pete see this? It's gold. All gold. Dad doesn't know where it came from. Does Pete know?
Of course Pete knows. Pete likes to go up on Dewey this morning, way up to the old signal tree, and of course he took me with him. The sky is all soft and silvery, and the clouds is full, plumb full of gold like that there. Didn't Dad see it? Some of it must have spilled out.
Yes. That was God's gold.
Pete says it's God's gold too, and Pete, he knows.
But why, Pete? Why should it come to me at such a time as this?
'Cause you're the shepherd of Mutton Hollow, Pete says. Don't be scared, Dad. Pete knows. It's sure God's gold.
In the woods outside Dad's cabin, the haunt, Dan Howard, sings of his desire for his father's forgiveness.
For years I have hidden in shame, sick over what I had done. I brought disgrace upon your good name. I don't deserve to be called your son. Can you forgive me? Can you forget what's past? Forgive me, please, and set my soul free. Give me peace at last. Can you forgive me? Can you forget what's past? Forgive me, please, and set my soul free. Give me peace at last. Seems I had wished for this day to come. Now it's here, it came too fast. But I changed, I marched to a new drum. Eternal love that truly will last. Can you forgive me? Can you forget what's past? Forgive me, please, and set my soul free. Give me peace at last. Often peace is never found, not even after we're laid in the ground. But I held out hope for this day at last, for this last chance for me to ask. Can you forgive me? Can you forget what's past? Forgive me, please, and set my soul free. Give me peace at last. Forgive me, please, and set my soul free. Give me peace at last.
Scene 4. Later that same morning, Dad and Pete are still discussing where the gold may have come from when there is a knock at the door.
Oh my, now what?
Dad quickly hides the gold.
Pete, not a word about this gold. This is our secret, okay? Sammy, what a pleasure to see you. What brings you here this morning?
Hello, Dad. Hi, Pete. How are you this morning? Isn't it a most beautiful day?
Beautiful day. The shadows and flowery things are dancing up a storm today. And the sun is so bright it's spilling its gold all over this hill.
Why, Pete, what a beautiful description of the morning. Dad, did you forget I was coming by today?
Indeed. I have forgotten, but no bother. We can get started.
Dad, do you think I know enough now to live in the city?
My dear, what a lady you have become. You could live anywhere in this creation that you choose.
Even if I decide to stay in the hills?
What?
Yes. Being a lady is a state of being. I can be a lady remaining in these hills as well as I can be a lady in the city. Just like you, Dad. You're not a preacher, but whenever Parson Bigelow is sick, you can fill in at a moment's notice. You preach beautiful funerals. You baptize folks. It's a state of being.
Then you don't regret learning the things that I've tried to teach you? Do you realize what you will be giving up? Are you sure that you're willing?
Regret? Dad. Regret? Oh, Dad, I see it all now. All that you've been trying in 1,000 different ways to teach me. You've led me into a new world. The real world. The world that has always been and must always be. And in that world, man is king. King because he is a man. And the treasure of his kingdom is the wealth of his manhood.
And the woman?
And they twain shall be one flesh.
I can lead you no further, my child. You've passed the final test.
Then I want my diploma.
Dad slowly rises from his chair and caresses Sammy's forehead and reverently kisses her brow.
This is the only diploma I am authorized to give. The love and homage of your teacher.
And my degree?
The most honorable in all the world. A sure enough lady. A sure enough lady. A sure enough lady. Through hard work, determination, relentless dedication, you've made a sure enough lady of yourself.
Thank you. Thank you, Dad. I love you so much. But I have some things to consider for which path I must take from this point forward.
Scene 5. A few weeks have passed. A group has gathered at a common area, a stream of water, where they meet when someone wishes to be baptized.
Jim, are you sure you're ready to do this? It's a major step in your life.
Mr. Howitt, I see the change you're making in my Sammy, and she thinks so much of you. She's got me to thinking. It's time I make a change in my life, and I need to get a total break from the bald knobbers. I need to learn how to walk the straight and narrow. What should I do?
That's the same question folks have been asking for 2,000 years. You gotta change your heart, change your lives, wash away your sins.
You gotta change your hearts, change your lives, wash away your sins.
Repent, repent and be baptized for remission of your sins. Repent, repent and be baptized for remission of your sins. You gotta change your hearts, change your lives, wash away your sins. Change your hearts, change your lives, wash away your sins. On the day of Pentecost, after Jesus did ascend, the Holy Spirit, it came down like a mighty rushing wind. The apostles spoke to Israel in tongues they understood. They preached salvation from your sins, if you only would. You gotta change your hearts, change your lives, wash away your sins.
You gotta
change your hearts, change your lives, wash away your sins. Repent, repent and be baptized for remission of your sins. Repent, repent and be baptized for remission of your sins. This message is for you. It's a message for your sons. This message is for all. Yes, each and every one. Save yourselves, each one of you, from the evils here today. Believe and be baptized. That's the only way. That's the only way. The songs of David, they proclaim the greatness of his King. God raised Christ from his lowly grave and stole death's fiery sting. David said his body rests in the grave here still today. But Jesus Christ has conquered death, only Jesus is our way. You gotta change your hearts, change your lives, wash away your sins.
You gotta
change your hearts, change your lives, wash away your sins. Repent, repent and be baptized for remission of your sins. Repent, repent and be baptized for remission of your sins. You gotta change your hearts, change your lives, wash away your sins. You gotta change your hearts, change your lives, wash away your sins. Change your hearts, change your lives, wash away your sins.
Jim, you've made a huge step. I'm very proud of you, my son. How do you feel?
It ain't just about the feeling, though I feel so good inside. It ain't just about my daughter, though I know she'll beam with pride. It ain't just about a doing the things I'm supposed to do, but it's all about a finding a love I never knew. Yes, it's all about a finding a love I never knew. A love I never knew, a love I never knew. It's all about a finding a love I never knew. A love I never knew, a love I never knew. It's all about a finding a love I never knew. I grew up hearing stories about a savior on a cross, a baby in a manger, a shepherd searching for the lost. A son of man came down from heaven, but went back up when he was through. But what I learned just now is a love I never knew. What I learned just now is a love I never knew. A love I never knew, a love I never knew. It's all about a finding a love I never knew. A love I never knew, a love I never knew. It's all about a finding a love I never knew.
Ain't it funny how we think we know all we'll ever need, then suddenly we discover this hunger we can't feed.
A love I never knew, a love I never knew. It's all about a finding a love I never knew. A love I never knew, a love I never knew. It's all about a finding a love I never knew. It's all about a finding a love I never knew. It's all about a finding a love I never knew.
Scene 6. The evening of that same day, Jim and Sammy Lane are arriving back at their cabin.
Oh, Daddy Jim, I'm so proud of you. Things could not be better.
Sammy, we may have a problem. There's a lamp burning in the cabin. It appears we have company waiting for us.
Who do you think it is, Daddy?
Well, my guess is Wash Gibbs and some of the gang. I thought I heard some horses behind our cabin, but that's not the half of it.
Huh?
I saw some movement in the shadows over there. I bet the sheriff has a posse tailing the bald knobbers, and they brung him right here to our cabin.
What should we do?
You wait right out here. Let me go inside and see what they want.
No, Daddy, we need to leave.
No sense running, Sammy. It would just be a matter of time before we'd face the same thing again. We may as well head it off now.
Be careful.
Stay here.
Daddy, I love you.
And I love you, Sammy.
Wash Gibbs!
A single shot fires out, followed by a thud of a body hitting the cabin floor. Immediately, Sammy hears men coming in from the bushes, guns blazing. As Sammy faints, a ghost-like figure emerges from the shadows, grabbing her and whisking her to safety. The figure, the haunt, Daniel, moans as it is struck by a stray bullet fired by a member of the posse. Blackout as gunfire is still heard. Scene 7. Later that night, Dad Howitt is alone in his cabin when someone knocks at his door.
John Coughlin, it is you.
Oh, it's me. Caught you, didn't I? Might have known I would. Bound to. Been at it ever since I lost track of you. I was visiting in Kansas City last week with my old friends, the Stewarts. Young fellow there, Ollie, put me right. Description, voice, and all that. Knew it was you. Knew it. Didn't tell them, though. Blasted reporters go wild. Didn't tell a soul, not a soul. Sarah and the girls think I am in Kansas City or Denver. Blast it all. What does it mean, you out here in these hills?
John, to think that this is really you. You of all men who I need most.
Huh? Look like you never needed me less. Look fit for anything. 10 years younger, every bit of 10 years. What have you done to yourself? Bless my soul, what a change. Told Matthews you were an aristocrat. He wouldn't believe it. Don't wonder. Doubt it myself now.
Before Dad has an opportunity to respond, Pete bursts into the cabin.
Where's Dad? Pete wants Dad.
What does Pete want?
Pete wants Dad. Dad, Uncle Matt, and the other man. They must sure go with Pete right quick.
Go where with Pete? Who told Pete to come for Dad?
He told Pete. Right now, we said, and Pete, he come. Of course, I come with him. Dad must go, and the other man, too.
Somebody needs me, John. We must go with the boy.
But blast it all, can we trust this boy? Where will he take us? Where do you want us to go, boy?
Not me, not me. Nobody can't go nowhere, can they? You go with Pete, mister.
Yes, go with Pete. But where will Pete take us?
Pete knows.
Now look at that. Look at that. Blast it all. We ought not go. Not in the night this way. Take a gun. Take a gun at least.
Does Pete want us to take a gun?
No, nothing can't get y'all where Pete goes. God, he's there, just like Dad says.
It's all right, John. Pete knows. It is safe to trust him tonight. Now, have Pete lead the way.
Sensing the urgency in Pete's voice, the men hurry behind Pete. Scene 8. In the next scene, with lantern in hand, Pete leads Dad Howitt, Matt Matthews, and Dr. Coughlin into a cavern room of a hidden cave. They discover a small cabin, built partly out of rock, partly out of logs, in the midst of the cavern. The three men stop. Pete speaks in a low tone as one would in a sacred presence.
He is there. Come on, Dad, come on. Don't be scared.
Who, boy? Who is there? Do you know who it is?
No, not me. Nobody can't know nothing, can they?
Hopeless case, David. Hopeless. Too bad.
Who does Pete say it is?
Oh, Pete says it's him. Just him.
But who does Pete say he is?
Sometimes Pete says it must be God. Of course, he's so good. Dad says God is good and that he takes care of folks. And he sure does that. 'Twas him that scared Wash Gibbs and his crowd that night. And he sent the gold to you, Dad. God's gold it was. He's got heaps of it. He killed that cougar, too, when it was going to attack Grant. Pete knows. You see, Dad, when Pete is with him, I ain't nobody no more. I'm just Pete then, and Pete is me. Funny, ain't it? But he says that's the way it is, and he sure knows.
And what does Pete call him?
Pete calls him Father, like Dad calls God. He talks to God, too, like Dad does. Do you reckon God would talk to God, mister?
Dad realizes an agony cry and then the realization that this is his son, Daniel.
Strong, David. Strong.
John, tell me, what is this thing? Can it be my boy? Danny? My son, can it be? No, John, what am I saying? He's dead. He's dead, I tell you. Can the dead come back from the grave?
Is that you, Pete? That's me. I'm Pete here, and Pete is me. It's always that way with him.
Pete draws open a curtain revealing Dan Howard, wounded by a gunshot, lying on a bed. Nearby is his famous painting, a picture of Matt's daughter standing by a spring of water, holding a cup of water in her outstretched hands.
Yes, Father, it's Pete. Pete and Dad and Uncle Matt and the other man.
Father, can you forgive me? I'm sorry, Father.
Forgive you? My son, there's never been in my heart a thought but of love and sympathy. Pain there's been, I can't deny, but I understand it now. I understand it all. I too have felt it.
I thought it would be easier for you to never know. I'm sorry now, but I must tell you all about it just the same. I must tell you myself, you see, so that it will be all clear and straight when I go.
Daniel looks at his painting.
When you go?
Yes, I'm going. It was an accident, but it was a kindness. It will be much better that way. I thought I could save you all from this. I intended to slip quietly away without you ever knowing, but when Pete said that Dr. Coughlin was here, I could not go without.
John, your physician, will you please help my son?
Dr. Coughlin moves over to examine Dan Howard. Matt Matthews stands quietly trying to understand what he is witnessing. Dad Howitt begins a prayer on his dying son's behalf.
Don't take him from me. Don't take him from me. Though he's a man, he's still my boy. Please don't take from me my last true joy. Don't take him from me. Not again. Accused by my false pride, he suffered in vain. How my soul has cried, heart wincing with pain. Don't take him from me. Don't take him from Daniel, my son. Thy will be done. I don't know what to say. I had no idea until you shared with me about your daughter. You held so much hate towards Daniel and his father. I was afraid what you might do once you learned the truth, so the coward I am, I said nothing. I chose to try to make it up to you and the people here by being the best person I knew to be. I came here running from my past and ended up running along, right into it. I was living a lie all this time. I'm so sorry.
What am I to do? What am I to do? The father I thought I hated is the man I have grown to love. The man I swore to kill gave his life for one loved as my own. I felt vengeance belonged to me. I know now it belongs above. Now I have what I thought I wanted, so why does my spirit moan? What am I to do? What must I do? Forgive. I must forgive. It's my only hope. It's my only hope. I must forgive. must forgive. Dad, my brother, David, I ain't got no education, and I don't know rightly how to say it, but what these hills have been to you, you have been to me. It's sure God's way.
Scene 9. Early the next morning, Aunt Molly and Grant Matthews are found caring for an unconscious Sammy Lane. Suddenly, Sammy sits up.
Daddy Jim!
It's all right, dear. You still need to rest.
Where's Daddy? Is he all right?
I'm so sorry, Sammy.
Wash Gibbs.
Yes, Wash Gibbs. But the sheriff and his posse were waiting for him. He tried to get away, but was hit as he fled. They found his body about a mile down the trail. He won't bother you anymore. And your daddy, God rest his soul, he loved you so much.
But how did I get here?
We're not sure. We found you on our porch. There was a trail of blood leading to the porch and off into the bushes. But you aren't injured.
Oh, Daddy Jim, you sure kept your promise. I'm glad they didn't get you, Daddy. They never would have believed what I know. Daddy wouldn't let me go into the cabin with him. He knew something was going to happen. He took care of me up until the very end.
Come, honey. You're our girl now. As long as you stay in the hills, you shall stay with us. You're the only daughter we've got, Sammy. And we want you a heap worse than you know. Will you be contacting Ollie to come take you to the city?
No. I have decided to stay here. This is my home. I don't belong in the city. Ollie and I have realized we're not meant for each other.
Then you shall be our girl always.
Sammy? You're staying here? You ain't going to the city?
Yes, I belong here. As Dad Howard often says, I lift up mine eyes unto these hills. I miss you so much, Daddy Jim. I woke up this morning, but you were not here. You're not coming back. That much is clear. I'm all numb inside. It's so insane. My soul's ripped apart, but I'm feeling no pain. I need you. You can't go away. I need you. Why couldn't you stay? I'm scared. I'm alone. Don't know what to do. Wishing for the past. Wishing for you. Wishing for the past.
wishing for you. How do I go on? Breathe out, breathe in. Gotta pick up the pieces. But where do I begin? I need you. You can't go away. I need you. Why couldn't you stay? I'm scared. I'm alone. Don't know what to do. Wishing I passed. Wishing for you. Wishing for the past. Wishing for you.
Every time I see your smile, I wonder if ever I'll understand how deep your love goes. I place my hand inside of yours. Suddenly my heart soars. Why that's so, heaven only knows. Just to feel your love for me makes life a perfect rhyme. I can't express how much I want you to be only mine. I want you, I want you, I want you more than I can say. I need you, I need you, I need you more and more every day. World seem all brand new. One day I hope to be like you. Your compassion flows like blessings from above. You amaze me so very much. Your words, your life, your tender touch. I've never known someone so full of love. Just to feel your love for me makes life a perfect rhyme. I can't express how much I want
you to be only mine. I want you, I want you, I want you more than I can say. I need you, I need you, I need you more and more every day. Loving eyes, at once my inner being flies.
I want you, I want you, I want you more than I can say.
I need you, I need you, I need you more and more every day. I love you, I love you, I love you more than I can say. I love you, I love you, I love you more and more every day.
Sammy and Grant embrace and kiss. Scene 10. It is 1905 in the house of Grant and Sammy Matthews.
I still cannot believe I'm in the presence of Daniel Howard's painting. This is such an honor. I would never have expected this while visiting these hills. And his story. The love, the sorrow, the guilt. The way he tried to help the people without them knowing he was even alive.
Daniel's daddy, Dad Howard, he came here ashamed of his past, serving as a preacher of God and yet discovering by his son's actions that he himself had such prejudice against people like us just because we're hill people. Yet, he gave it all up to become one of us, and we benefited from his decision.
I was so proud of both Jim and my dad. Sammy's influence helped convince Jim to change his life even though he knew it would cost him his life. He knew it was what he had to do, and my dad to see the change in him after he forgave Daniel and Dad Howard. His hate for them had been eating him up inside. Forgiveness ain't easy, but it's required if you want peace in your own life.
Yes, the change in his life shined through after that burden was lifted off his shoulders. I always respected Uncle Matt, but his inner peace just made him easier to love.
I still can't believe Dad and Mama are both gone.
And poor Pete didn't live but a few months after his daddy died. It's like he lost the will to live.
An explosion of dynamite can be heard in the distance.
Sound of progress. They're blasting through these hills. Soon we'll have a railroad. We won't be so isolated from the rest of the country. Guess we'll see what civilization is like.
I miss him, but I'm sure glad Dad Howard isn't here to see this. The very thing that ran him into these hills has come into our front door.
It is amazing how many of your family you've lost.
Life is hard in these hills.
Yes. I miss seeing them, but I choose not to think of them as gone. They still live in our memories, the stories we recall.
Their little sayings and corny jokes they repeated.
In all these ways, they still live. Their very lives are engraved in our very being. When Dad Howard learned we were getting married, he wrote Dr. Coughlin and requested he purchase this locket for me in the city. It's a simple piece, much like Dad himself. I always wear it backwards where everyone can see the inscription. On the front, he inscribed, "A sure enough lady." He was so amused the day I came to him asking him to teach me to be a lady. But the back is what I'm most fond for others to see. He did not sign his name. Rather, it tells of his character. Modest, yet so profound. It reads simply, "The Shepherd." He was the shepherd of the hills. Even before I received this wonderful gift, he had already managed to be forever engraved into my heart. Engravings on my heart, etched into my soul, Memories filled with love make my spirit whole. Engravings on my heart, etched into my soul. Memories filled with love make my spirit whole. Engravings on my heart, etched into my soul. Memories filled with love make my spirit whole. Make my spirit whole. Make my spirit whole. Make my spirit whole. Make my spirit whole.
We live our lives based on the values we're taught by our parents and those we respect and adore. We'll raise our family to cherish and honor these same values passed on down before.
Engravings on my heart, etched into my soul. Memories filled with love make my spirit whole. Engravings on my heart, etched into my soul. Memories filled with love make my spirit whole. Memories filled with love make my spirit whole. If we're lucky, someone comes into our lives and makes their way into our hearts. The shepherd, he freely gave of himself to anyone in need from these parts. Engravings on my heart, etched into my soul. Memories filled with love make my spirit whole. Engravings on my heart, etched into my soul. Memories filled with love make my spirit whole. My spirit whole. Make my spirit whole. Memories filled with love make my spirit whole.
End of Act 2.